Hi, my name is Stefan. Welcome to a new video. Since a lot of you asked for this topic, today I'm going to talk about my approach for arranging my songs. Here we have the production and composing session for one of my upcoming songs. Let's listen what we have so far. So, usually I start with an idea for a certain part, riff, or even a specific genre or vibe. In this case, I wanted to go with something heavy and groovy in the vein of bands like Nasty or Get the Shot. So more of a hardcore beatdown kind of vibe. First, I have the groove idea in my head and want to figure out the tempo of this part. So I can play with my MIDI keyboard and get some ideas out of my head. How I started here was with the BPM of 174. I start with the click and then play with my MIDI keyboard. So I usually start like this with the click going. If I go lower, then it loses the groove part. It sounds really heavy, but not that groovy anymore. If I go higher, the groove vibe is really strong, but it loses the heaviness. So I decided to go with this and play around a little bit. After playing around a little bit, I decided to go with this first idea. Immediately after having this first groove idea, I programmed in the drums to get a more complete sound and view of the part. So I just programmed and copied in the rhythm of the guitars for the kick drum and then some crash and snare. This sounds like this. So I had my first part, then I copied it in for the MIDI bass and to have even more fat sound. I knew after this part I wanted to go in something more fast, because some slow parts only feel really slow and groovy if there is something fast before or after, so the variation and the contrast is there. And after playing again with the MIDI keyboard for a long time, I found this riff to follow this grooving part. Here, like I said, I just played with the MIDI keyboard until I found something I liked. For getting the fast feel, here I decided to go with 16ths in the bass drum. Sounds like this. And then I had the idea to put exactly this riff before the slow grooving part to get this, this contrast I was talking about. So let's listen how this sounded then. Yes, there was some volume bump now, but you get the feel. But I wasn't happy with how the groove part felt after this fast part. So I played around even more and I had a second groove idea, and Then I went with 16ths in the bass drum to get even more of that grooving feel. And then after playing around, I finally found this. So as you see, it is a lot of trial and error and playing around, and it takes even a few days for just one section to find the perfect part. And sometimes I don't listen for it for 2 days and then have it a listen again, how it feels, if it still feels right. And I wasn't happy with the first 2 options until I found this. And this now has the perfect match for me between heaviness and grooviness. So listen with the fast part before and then into the grooving part again. And also my decision to go from the palm mutes to the open strings in this grooving part gives it even more dynamic and forward movement. As you see, my session looks really chaotic in this arranging and composing stage, and there is no real formula behind my writing process. It's just a lot of trial and error, wait, give it a new listen, and try something different. Sometimes I have parts I want to try out and then find for them to not work at all in this song, in this context, and then they sit at the end of the session and get deleted completely. Also playing a lot with the drums, like I showed you in my last video with the snare drums, the bass drum patterns. I also tried here, following the rhythm of the guitars or going 16th straight through. And yeah, so I hope this was helpful and gave you some ideas how to go about your own composition and arranging stage and process. And if you have some questions, just leave them in the comments and leave a like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Thanks for watching this video and see you in the next one.